Hello and good day, everyone. From MeteoMark's weather here, we're looking at the tropics and severe weather coverage as we continue to go through time the rest of this week. We're going to be watching the Central Caribbean, but our attention is going to start turning to the Gulf and the Western Caribbean as we get towards the middle to latter part of May here. We're going to be looking at all the details in what could be a series of stalled frontal boundaries that may lead us to a few areas of tropical concern. And severe weather outbreaks here is going to be the name of the game as we go across the plains, spreading eastward here across eastern North America. We're going to take a look at all of the severe weather outbreaks we're likely to see during the next couple weeks and to see if that pattern is subject to change. And I'll be checking out the Western Pacific as well. Could we actually have our first named storm out here in quite some time? Could this actually become a typhoon as we head towards the middle of the month? And which areas are likely to get hit by this potential storm? And before we continue here, I want to let you know I have my 2024 hurricane outlook forecast with all the numbers of how I think this hurricane season is likely to play out, how many hurricanes and storms, and which areas are likely to be the target. I have a link in the description down below and a link at the end of this video, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into it. All right, so let's take a look at our tropics here. This is one of the big features here as we continue towards the central and northern Caribbean. You can see this area, this was associated with the stalled trough. Now it's, turning into kind of a drawn out area of low pressure, so to speak. And as we continue to head towards, say, the 6th into the 7th, you can see those showers continuing here around the periphery of this big old Bermuda high. This is more reminiscent of, say, July here. You can see those northeast winds continuing to focus that tropical moisture here across the northern Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and heading towards the Dominican Republic and eventually towards Jamaica. Now, as we head through the 9th and 10th, we start to see a lull in the action here, a little bit of drying out, but this frontal boundary to the north, watch out because it'll start to stall and we get a little area of low pressure here spinning across the southern Caribbean. So that's going to continue to be something we watch in time. Now watch what I was showing you at the beginning of the video here. We start to see a front here across the Gulf Coast region. So we're getting a trough here across the east. That's going to send the fronts further south and east here across parts of the Gulf of Mexico. So we're going to start to see stalled out frontal boundaries, and this, as we head towards later on in May, this will start to become the focal point of some of these areas that we could see some tropical development as we head through May 20th through 30th. So something to really keep an eye on here. The intertropical convergence zone is staying pretty far to the south out here, so we don't have to worry too much about that. We also have to watch off the east coast of the United States. We may have some sort of spin up. So these two areas in particular we'll have to keep an eye on as we head through the end of the month. Okay, so for the Atlantic, sea surface temperatures are just continuing to run extremely warm here. I mean, we're talking 2 to as much as 5 degrees Celsius above average. And by any stretch of the imagination, this is tremendously warm for this time of year. This is closer to more like mid-July. Even the Gulf is starting to warm up here, and there's some warm spots here off the U.S. East Coast and even the Canadian East Coast as well. So the one thing to note, right out here in the MDR, that's where it's the warmest. Second warmest into the Caribbean. That's where we're going to have to watch, especially as we go into mid to later part of May. But even off the southeast coast here, Gulf Coast regions have to watch out later in the month with these stalled frontal boundaries. So let's get our modeling out here. We'll take a look at, there's that positive precipitation anomaly as we get through this week. Drier here in Central America. Intertropical convergence zone is still way, way, way down here into barreling into parts of South America. So as we continue to go in time, this is through, say, the 2nd and 3rd week of May. We start to see that anomaly pivot towards Jamaica, Central America towards Nicaragua, Costa Rica here, even Hispaniola and Puerto Rico still continuing into the southeastern Bahamas. And then as we continue towards, say, this is the 3rd week of May, look what starts to happen. This starts to congeal across the Central Caribbean, Western Caribbean, and then including the Northern Islands, the Caribbean Islands again. And then as we head towards the end of May here, to the 1st of June, that just blossoms. Look how fast the intertropical convergence zone comes to the north here. So that's where we're going to start to see some areas still looking a little bit below average here into the Gulf. I still think there's a chance with those stalled frontal boundaries, so we'll have to watch. But things are really going to start to blossom early June here across parts of the Eastern Caribbean into the intertropical convergence zone. And look at as we head towards, say, mid-June here, we're getting towards June 15th. This area across the Western Caribbean, Southeastern Gulf will have to be watched as we have a positive precipitation anomaly. As we take a look at the ENSO index right now, we're kind of leveling off into a weak El Nino at this point. We're still in an El Nino plus 0.5 degrees Celsius, but we're kind of like slowing the coolness, so to speak, of the water. So we're kind of featuring a brick wall here, but I expect that trend to continue to start to go down towards neutral phase throughout the rest of May, early June, and then we'll slip into the La Nina later in June and July. So here across the Caribbean, you can see we're just going to continue with this problem just hung up here across the north central Caribbean. We're going to continue to rain out a tremendous amount of rain here, 50 to 100 millimeters. That's about in 2 to as much as 4 inches of rainfall here. So same in Jamaica, eastern Cuba, Turks and Caicos in the southeastern Bahamas, Puerto Rico, the northern Lesser Antilles. Through midweek here, we're just going to continue to pile up the rainfall. Western Caribbean here, look at this. More of the same. It's actually looking pretty dry throughout most of Central America, so really nice time to get out there and enjoy it even into westward into Mexico here. Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, you're picking up rainfall here. An average of about 40 to 80 millimeters here. That's looking at about 1.5 inches to about 2.5 inches of rainfall. So for our severe weather coverage here later on Saturday and Saturday evening, an enhanced risk across west central Texas here. Also slight risk also up just around Chicago area. And as we stretch through Sunday and Sunday evening here, we're going to continue to watch this sink to the south towards San Antonio, tornado threat pivoting towards your area, Austin. Slight risk up here towards Cleveland, Erie, Pittsburgh area. Watch out even towards Arkansas here. And day 3, look at this. It is your turn in Kansas and Oklahoma, and an enhanced risk of severe weather. We're looking at a tremendous amount of severe weather as we stretch into Monday and Monday evening. This is not looking good. Tornado threat running high from Oklahoma City, Wichita, Topeka area. And on Tuesday and Tuesday night, this spreads east here across parts of the Eastern Plains to the Ohio River Valley, northern Mississippi River Valley. Watch out, that tornado threat heading your way. And then as we head to Wednesday here, that threat kind of shifts a little bit further to the south here, northeast Texas, all the way to southwestern Ohio. HRRR future radar. Here we go. We got some storms forming across parts of the Ohio Valley into western Pennsylvania. Most of these will just be just below severe levels, so not too much to worry about here as we get into parts of western Pennsylvania. That's spreading into a rain event here for Sunday, so it's not going to look very nice here across parts of the Northeast as we stretch in time. But look at this as we head later on in the afternoon. I would not be surprised, eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, southwestern New York, some of these cells get going and get kind of strong to severe. Damaging wind, large hail would be the biggest threat with some of these cells, and then that's rainfall spreading across the Northeast into Sunday evening as well. So some of these storms could be severe. I'm not expecting a widespread severe weather outbreak, hence why we have a slight risk of severe. Now, the big story is going to be across parts of Texas here as we continue throughout the day and evening hours of Sunday. Saturday evening. This is the start of it, Saturday evening. As we head across central Texas here, it's going to be mainly across west central Texas as we head through 7, 8, 9 p.m. But look at this. It's staying mostly in central Texas, just between Dallas and Austin here as we head towards 1 a.m. But look at how this spreads to the southeast, forming a squall line towards 4 a.m. on early Sunday morning. So watch out, San Antonio up to College Station here, Austin. That could be heading your way towards Houston towards 7 a.m. And then look at this, another resurgence here, another big line just north of San Antonio. I think Sunday afternoon here is your day, San Antonio up to Austin. That's where you'll see a big squall line move through, damaging wind, large hail, tornado threat, and then eventually to Houston by Sunday evening. Now look what starts to push here. All across Arkansas here, we start to see some strong to severe thunderstorms push to the northeast. That turns more into a heavy rain event as we go through 8 a.m. on Monday morning. So our significant tornado parameter here gives us a good idea of which areas are likely to see those tornadoes. And this is heading into about 10 p.m. on Saturday evening here. Look at this. Yeah, right around the Austin areas north and westward here. This is where we're likely to see SIGTOR parameters approaching 2 or 3. This is a little concerning. Now, during the overnight hours and early morning hours into Sunday afternoon, that threat spreads a little bit further to the east here across Louisiana into Arkansas, but it's not as big of a threat as on Saturday evening. So as we progress through the GFS model here, you can see severe thunderstorms and severe weather across the plains here. That's going to translate towards the north and the east. As we get in during the day on Sunday, we could have a pretty big severe weather outbreak here across parts of the central and northern plains. So as we get into Sunday and into early Monday, that spreads to the east, and we could see active weather spreading towards the Great Lakes here into parts of the Northeast, becoming more of a weaker overrunning scenario here. And then look at this. That severe weather threat expands eastward here as we head on the 8th. So Tuesday night into Wednesday, look at this. Watch out. There could be some strong to severe thunderstorms from the Mississippi and Ohio River Valley to the lower Great Lakes. That's spreading to the eastward here, a squall line from southern Pennsylvania all the way down to eastern Tennessee and parts of Alabama here. So that's spreading to the east. A lot of overrunning precipitation to the north here into southeast Canada. And that's going to continue in time as we head through next weekend. You can see, yeah, that upper level low really entrenched across the east here. This is an interesting feature. We'll have to watch it here as we get into the tropics. But, you know, as we head through time, the big story here is going to continue to be this trough developing across parts of the east. So, yeah, I'm going to show you my Canadian weather outlook here momentarily. That's a little bit later on in the video, but yeah, looking pretty stormy across eastern Canada as well. And severe weather outbreaks as we continue through the middle part of May here. You can see through the plains and the southern states. That's where we're going to see some big time storms here. This is May 16th, so some big, strong, severe thunderstorms here as we continue to progress in time. So let's take a look through midweek here. We can see our upper air pattern, that ridge building, continuing across the east here. You can see what's going on, though, across central and western North America. This trough is going to start kicking east here. The trough kind of pushes up here into north-central Canada. We'd start to see evidence here of a trough here into northeastern North America, eastern Canada as well. So continuing along here with our upper air CFS medium range climate model. This is what I wanted to show you as we head into the second full week of May. Look what starts to happen here across the east. You knew this was coming. Now that spring is here, a cooler time of it, rainier and stormier. This is May 20th here, so this is going to continue. We're going to see below average temperatures and above average precipitation here along the east coast as we head through the rest of May here until we get to about Memorial Day weekend. That ridge out west does start to evidence here towards the east. But look at this as we continue to go out in time. We get these spin-offs here of these troughs here across northeastern North America. And as we head through May, or actually June 5th here, you can actually see troughiness continuing across parts of the northeast and southeast Canada. Look at equivalent precipitation here as we go through time. The West Coast getting in on the act, but also here the southern plains, Texas in particular with that severe weather, and then stretching up across the Appalachians into the Northeast and Ohio Valley. This is where we'll see an average of 1 to 2, maybe closer in those red zones, closer to 3 inches. So for our Canadian weather outlook here, let's take a look and see. We'll turn precipitation depiction on because, yeah, we're still dealing with snow up here towards Hudson Bay. As we continue through the rest of the weekend, those showers are going to spread here across eastern Ontario and Quebec as we head through May 5th here. Look at out west here into British Columbia. That's where we're going to see a very active weather, those lowering snow levels as well. But here across parts of southeast Canada, you can see that's where we're going to continue to see those showery weather here. Lots of rain continuing as we head through May 8th here into May 9th. Southern Ontario and Quebec getting hit with a lot of rain. Here's that low moving off to the northeast. But look at high pressure building in across western parts of Canada here. And as we continue in time, look at this. I'm not sure whether to buy this on May 11th here. There is some depiction showing up with some wet snow here, northern New England into parts of southern Quebec. it may just be too warm for any accumulation if we do get wet snow. That pulling up into the Canadian Maritimes as we head through May 13th. But look at this. The activity is right around the edges. British Columbia and Alberta, and then heading towards Quebec, New Brunswick here, Newfoundland. So this is where we're going to continue to see Nova Scotia. These areas we're going to continue to see this trough really pick up across eastern Canada and western Canada, while the central provinces here of Canada could see a lull in the action as we head through the mid part of May here. So look at that. Just tremendous amounts of moisture here in southern Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia as we head through May 20th. All right, so Canadian rainfall totals here. This is liquid equivalent. You can see picking up anywhere from about 13 to 30 millimeters on average here. Nothing more than about a half to 3/4 of an inch here. This is through midweek, by the way. And then here in Western Canada, a little bit stormy as well. Not tremendous amounts of precipitation, however. So let's go a little bit out on the longer range here. The GFS getting us into the trend as we head through mid to late May. You can see southeastern Canada, especially along the U.S. Canadian border. We're going to be picking up closer to 70 to 100 millimeters here. That's on the order of 2.5 to 3 inches, closer to 3.5. And then out here on the west coast as well, central part of Canada is a little bit drier as we head through mid to late May. So if we take a look at snowfall here across Canada, this is kind of weird as we head towards, say, look at that, later next weekend around May 12th. Southeast Canada here. Showing up some snowfall here into Quebec and New Brunswick. Not sure I'm on board with that. Maybe some of the higher elevations, but it's highly unlikely. Out here in the western Rockies of Canada, yeah, definitely picking up some heavy snow here. But most of the snow is bottled up here into northeastern Canada. And Lucas D here from Linden, Texas. Take a look at this. Some nice captures here of the eclipse last month, April 8th. Look at this. Really just cruising along. Got a nice depth of field here with that filtered clouds in front of it. You can see as the moon progressed here over the sun, you can see it really showing up really nice in his photos here. Look at that. Just progressing through. There's a quarter of the sun left. Looking really good here. As I said, not enough clouds to completely block it out, but give it that truly nice effect here. You can see that sliver just left here, and then as it was completely covered up here. And look at this. There's a quarter of it missing, or a third of it. And Lucas also getting a shot of video here. I'll show little clippets here and there from for the next couple of videos. But look at this. You can see as we just progress here, there's the clouds kind of obscuring the shot. Not enough to completely cover it up, though, given that nice depth here. Look at that. As we just progress in time here, you can see the sun shrinking. And look at that. Showing up really nice here through the clouds. Really darkening up really nice here. Nice captures here, Lucas. And John here from Tom Chattelbash Park here, taking some pictures of an owl in the area here. You can see it right up here in the tree. Looking really good this past Wednesday. Look at this. So, yeah, wildlife is out and about. Look at the leaves around the trees there as well. Looking really nice across the area there. You can see the owl up in the tree here. Very, very nice captures here, John. Getting out there and enjoying it on such a beautiful day. We've had some really nice weather here across parts of the Northeast. So nice captures here. You can see the owl right up here in the tree. Now, things have been really quiet out here in the tropics and the Western Pacific. It seems as the Atlantic gets more active, the Western Pacific gets more inactive, and even the Eastern Pacific. But look at this. I want to draw your attention. This is May 8th. Here's the Philippines. Here is Japan. So here we go. There's the Philippines. Up here is Japan. And there is the Intertropical Convergence Zone right over here. Let me put this into motion here. You can start to see evidence of a low-pressure system taking effect right around May 10th here. Now, this is a little bit further out. It's day 6 and 7, so this could change greatly. But the fact that the models are honing in on an area of low pressure, possibly developing into a tropical system around this periphery of high pressure. We'll have to see what impact this may have on any landmass, especially this early, this time of year. But look at this model really pushing this towards a typhoon. And as you know, this time of year, they do have a tendency, once they strengthen any time of year, to recurve. Now, southern Japanese islands are up in here, Taiwan, northern Philippines. What would this do? Well, we do have a frontal boundary here. It is draped across this region. So it would likely pick this up to the north. And how close it comes to the southern Japanese islands, it's likely to take it off to the northeast as high pressure builds in across Japan. This would be the best case scenario, taking it just off to the east. One thing to note this time of year, the waters are still a little bit cool, especially from, the winter time here. So it's going to take a little while for these waters to warm up completely. So it's likely going to be becoming a hybrid extratropical system or a subtropical system by the time it moves just parallel here, say with Tokyo, Japan. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
So we start off here with our temperatures. Look at here in the northeast. This is going to be with the clouds and the rainfall, but look at the heat building here across the southeast. Lots of upper 80s and 90s. Look at this as we head towards May 6th. Look at here across the southeast. It's looking beautiful across much of Florida here. Severe weather outbreaks will be likely here across the plains. You see that big baroclinic zone setting up here across the northern plains. But look at here, even to the northeast, we're stretching into the 70s. Now, look at here into central Florida, 90s, and then lower 80s towards Miami here as we head towards May 7th. Look at the heat building across the southeast, mid to upper 80s, 90s across Texas here, and 70s in the Ohio Valley and to the northeast. Into Wednesday, wow, look at these 90s. All the way up into southeastern Virginia, much of the Gulf Coast areas. And then watch this. As we spread into Thursday here, that heat just builds up into parts of Virginia here, just solidifying here across the southeast. And then look at that, 70s across the Ohio Valley into the northeast. So not looking too bad. We do start to see evidence, though, we're going to start to cool here into the 60s across the eastern lakes as we head through May 10th on Friday. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. So we're looking here. It's going to be a rainy Sunday. Unfortunately, it's just going to be really raw. We're going to have those, wind speeds, southeast wind around 15 to 20 miles an hour. It's just going to feel awful. About a quarter to a half an inch of rain. And then as we stretch through Monday and Tuesday, of course, it's going to get sunny for Monday and Tuesday up towards the mid 70s into Wednesday. A chance of showers and thunderstorms. Some could be strong. Making it up towards 80 into Thursday, rain continuing, so we're going to set up a really rainy weather pattern. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget, it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.